So now let's set up the spawn point so that we can see if our spawn is going to work the way that we want it to work. So in order to do this, we need to grab the spawn point position when we load the scene. So we're going to do spawn point equals game object dot bind object with tag, and we're going to feed it a string, and that's going to be whatever we tagged it. So I'm pretty sure I tagged mine spawn. Well, let's go back and double check. Give me a spawn point. Yep, spawn. All right. So now every time on every frame, we're going to check and see whatever we have assigned to this game object. In our case, it's the spawn point. We're going to go, okay, that is now equal to anything in the scene tagged spawn. So it's going to refresh this and look every time we load the scene. Anytime we load a new scene, it's going to look and find the object tag spawn, and it's going to feed that back into this. So using that, we can take the transform from that object and apply it to the player. And so right underneath this, we're going to do player, which is our player character, because that's what we fed the variable inside of Unity. Player dot transform dot position equals spawn point dot transform dot position. We're going to set the player's transform to whatever spawn point transform is at this moment. So if we go back into here, we're gonna let's test this out. Let's make sure that we saved our script. So let's do level 2. Ah, it didn't work. So what we need to do now is we need to tell Unity, hey, there's certain things that I want you to keep alive from scene to scene. I don't want you to destroy it, because Unity, the way Unity works is anytime you move from scene to scene, it destroys anything that was in the previous scene so that it doesn't show up over top whatever new scene you have active. So we need to tell Unity, hey, there's a couple things that I want you to look at, and I need you to keep alive when we move from scene to scene. However, we also need to set rules for this, because I can say we're going to write an awake function void awake, and I can say don't destroy on load player. So that's gonna, anytime, as soon as this script starts running, it's gonna go, where's the player? Okay, we're not gonna destroy that on load. So if I go in here and I hit play, we'll go to level 2, and there's the player. All right, so we know that the player is now persistent through to level 2. It still doesn't do exactly what we want it to do, and that's because we have to manipulate the code a little bit more. So with that in mind, I'm gonna do don't destroy on load for the UI canvas, because we want to keep all of the buttons anytime we go from scene to scene so that we can continue to do that. And I'm going to do don't destroy on load for the event system. And that means that when we transition from scene to scene, it's going to still be able to do on-click events without having to create a whole nother event system. Okay. So if we go into the scene and we hit play, go to level 2. All right, we can see that our canvas is here, our player's here, and our event system is here. So this little nifty little thing in the hierarchy says these are all the things that we didn't destroy when we loaded the scene. So if I go back to level 1, it'll cause an issue of duplication. Ah, but I can't go back to level 1 because I didn't bring forward the UI manager. So we need to put the UI manager on the don't destroy on load list. And because the scene manager script is attached to the UI manager object, we can do very simply don't destroy on load this dot game object. So that means whatever the script is attached to, don't destroy it when we load the next scene. So let's go back here. We're going to hit play, try this out. So we go to level 2. All right. Now, you'll notice that it took in the spawn point, and that's because we didn't destroy the UI manager, which contains the spawn point variable that we need to reference. Very important. It wasn't doing that before. So now, if we go back to level 1, you can see it duplicated. I now have 2 players. I now have 2 canvases, 2 event systems, and 2 UI managers. Now, this is going to get very messy because I can go back to level 2 and I can go back to level 1 and keep duplicating, and it's going to eat my memory. So the way that we alleviate this is we have to add a qualifier into the script. We have to add a little conditional statement inside of awake so that we know only don't destroy on load if there's only one version of this thing in the scene. So the first thing we need to do is inside of the awake function, we need to set an instance of this script. So I'm going to do scene manager, which is my script, equals underscore instance. Or I'm sorry, not equals. We're just going to do scene manager instance because this is a variable now. And then we're going to do is equal to find objects of type, and we want to look for this script, scene manager. Okay. So what this says is, hey, this class that I have, the script that I have called scene manager, I'm creating a variable of this script called instance. And instance, that variable is going to be equal to whatever has the scene manager class attached to it anytime I load a scene on the awake function. So we have that. Now what we need to do is use this to create an if statement that says if there's more than one of anything on this list, on the DontDestroyOnLoad list, destroy the duplicates. So what we're going to do, I'm going to cut this for now. We're going to paste in a second. We're going to do if underscore instance dot get component scene manager does not equal this. Then we want to don't destroy on load all of these things. Else, actually, we want to else don't destroy on load. This one, we want to destroy on load. Which would actually just be destroy. So now that we have this, we can go, okay, if our instance of the script, scene manager, does not equal this exact instance, then destroy everything on this list. If it does, then don't destroy this on load. So what this is going to do is going to search the scene every time we load it and say, is there only one instance of this object? If there is, great, don't destroy it on the next load. If there isn't, destroy this thing right now as a duplicate. So now that we have that, let's save it and let's go test it out in Unity. Okay, so we're good to go here. Let's hit play. And we're in level 1. All right, so far so good. We're going to go to level 2, and okay, we're in level 2. We've moved. Our spawn point has changed. Let's try level 3. Ah, we didn't set the on-click events for these yet, right? All right, but let's go back to level 1 and see if this works. Ah, perfect. So we only have one instance of the player, the canvas, the event system, and the UI manager, which is good. We don't have duplicates, meaning we're not bleeding memory. So let's go back and add the on-click events for the other 4 levels so that I can show you guys how this works if we just want to keep switching through levels. So go back into our script, and we're going to go down here to where we have our different functions for loading the different scenes. So we have level 1 is on the build index. Level 2, we did a string. So for level 3, I'm going to do a build index, and so this is going to be build index 2. So remember, the build index starts at 0. So level 1 is 0, level 2 is 1, Level 3 is 2. And for level 4, it would be 3. And level 5 is going to be 4. All right. So let's go back to Unity, go back to the canvas, and add these on-click events to the buttons. So button 2 is done. Let's do button 3. Go to the UI Manager. Let's click here, go to Scene Manager, move to level 3. Level 4 button. Give the UI Manager. Move to level 4. Level 5 button. Move to level 5. All right. So we have our buttons set up. Each of them is going to move us to the correct level that we want to move to. So let's give it a shot. And if everything is done correctly, we should be able to just move from scene to scene with no issue. So let's go to level 2. Awesome, we know that works. Let's go to level 3. All right, we moved to level 3, new floor, new spawn point. Level 4, perfect. Level 5. And let's jump back to level 1, and let's jump to level 3. And then to 5, then to 2, then to 4, then to 1. All right, so everything works. We don't have any duplications, which is great. That means we're not bleeding memory. So, to sum this up, we've gone over a couple of things here that are super important for scene transition. We talked about directories, so we need to make sure that we're using the correct directories if we want to manipulate the UI in the scene manager. We talked about a couple of variables that we need to assign so that we can call specific objects to DontDestroyOnLoad. We also talked about how to mitigate duplication of these objects by creating a conditional inside of awake that talks about if there's more than one instance of this object on this list, then destroy all other instances of that object. We talked about setting the spawn point every time we load the scene, and then grabbing that position and then setting the player's position according to that spawn point. And then we talked about creating the functions that will transition us to the different scenes based on either the build index or a string name that we can set up in the build settings for the build index. Or we just take the string name and type it right into Unity, into the script. So I really hope that helped, guys. I know that was a little bit long. Thanks for sticking with me. So now you guys know how to do level select. And these don't have to be on buttons. You can use the same philosophy for any other way that you can think of to create events and make things happen inside of Unity. So triggers, colliders, anything like that. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I hope this helped. Have a good day.